Hello there. Welcome back to his scientific biographies. Today we're going to be talking about Rosalind Franklin, who, as I say here, is left out but not forgotten. We'll get to the reason why we're saying that in just a moment. So Rosalind Elsie Franklin was born in July of 1920 in England, and she was an expert in X-ray crystallography, which is basically a way to determine the structure of molecules. So it's kind of a pretty important science when it comes to figuring out what different molecules look like and how the atoms are arranged. She worked on understanding the chemical structure of lots of complex molecules, um, which is pretty important. And then she also worked a lot with viruses and other large biological particles, kind of what I said earlier. She was educated at St. Paul's Girls' School in Hammersmith, which was one of the few all-girls schools to teach chemistry and physics. So for the time, this was one of the only schools that would teach her science. She attended Cambridge, where she focused on chemistry, and she was awarded second-class honors upon graduation. So basically, she received honors for her work at the university when she was a student. Now, X-ray crystallography, like I said, is the process of determining an atomic or molecular structure of a crystal. So basically, if you can crystallize something, you can use X-ray crystallography to figure out what the molecular structure of that crystal is. And this is done by hitting the molecules with this high-intensity X-ray. And those rays are going to hit the thing you're shooting it at. And it's going to diffract in all these different angles. And then using the intensity and the angles of those beams, scientists like Rosalind can then produce a three-dimensional picture of the electron density of that molecule. One can learn the positions of atoms, their chemical bonds, all these different things from these kind of experiments. So it's pretty important. Watson and Crick, okay, were around the time that Rosalind was working, were trying to model DNA for the first time. Now, little did they know that Franklin was doing basically the same thing using X-ray crystallography. She was determining where the atoms were, what their bond length was, all that kind of stuff. And so she had all this data and calculations and all this awesome stuff that she had that she'd been working on. And basically, they kind of just grabbed her work and used it as their own. And they didn't end up citing her for it. Basically, they were just like, "Yep, we came up with this on our own. You know, this is our stuff. We did it. We made this model." But they didn't really say that it was because of Rosalind's work that they were able to do this. So anyway, the three people, Watson, Crick, and then another guy who had worked with them, ended up receiving the Nobel Prize for their model of DNA. And Rosalind Wright was not credited or included in that, so that she didn't get the Nobel Prize, even though her work was the basis of which their model was constructed. When Rosalind's work was published, it was seen as support for Watson and Crick's work, even though her experiments came first. So she basically kind of got the short end of the deal on this situation, which is a huge bummer for her. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe so you can see more scientific biography videos. And if there's somebody that you want me to talk about, that's a scientist or someone who's contributed to science that you really want me to cover, go ahead and comment down below, and I will make sure to get to that person. I'll put them on my list, and we'll make sure that we make a video about them as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time for some more science biographies.